Let's get ready. Okay, so let's move back. Oops, I forgot to turn on my lights. Second. Okay, so just as a reminder, if you do get lightheaded at any point of this class, feel free to stop, okay, or just kind of move a little bit, just to balance out the oxygen and carbon dioxide in your body. Sometimes when you breathe more than you usually do, that changes a little bit, and that can lead to a little bit of lightheadedness. So today's class, we're going to be kind of reviewing what we did kind of last time. I think I'm going to add just a little bit of harmonica at the end. So if you do have a harmonica, feel free to join us at the end. If not, that's okay. I can also send out more information if you do want to join us for that part. Okay, so let's get started first. Okay, so once again, we're going to watch our posture. Okay, so when we are kind of slouched like this, there's less space in the lungs and the body to expand. So our lungs work by expanding to draw air in. Okay, so we need to, we want to be in a better posture first. Okay, so let's play around with our posture a little bit. Let's just kind of bring our chest up a little bit. Shoulders be a little wider. Okay, so chest up, shoulders wider. Okay, automatically you should be in a better position already. Okay, so let's just try to, so let's compare. So actually let's rewind our back a little bit first. Let's take a breath in. Okay, so, and just notice how big of a breath you can draw in if your body a little bit slouched. Okay, and let's compare if when we bring our chest up a little higher and the shoulders would be a little bit wider as well. So wider doesn't mean pull back, it just means wide. So this is actually more narrow than this. Okay, so taller, a little bit wider. Okay, and let's try to take another maybe 1 or 2 breaths just to compare. Okay, so you should notice that you are able to take a much bigger breath than before. Okay, and so that's what we want, but let's fine tune a little bit more again. So sometimes let's check our pelvis as well. Okay, so let's try to imagine our pelvis like a bowl of water. So you can kind of tilt it back a little bit. You can also tilt it forward a little bit. You might feel like you're sitting on different parts of your bum or different parts of your tailbone. Okay, so let's try kind of maybe slushing, kind of pouring water up and back a little bit. I should do this so you see. So you can look at my belt. Okay, and you can pour water from the front. Okay, so we don't want to be all the way up here, and we don't want to be all the way back here either. So more or less kind of flat. Okay, maybe even sometimes maybe a slight tilt forward. You should feel like you're sitting on a piece of bone. Okay, so if you're on a harder chair. So usually we call that our sit bone because technically that's where we ideally sit on. Okay, so you can play around, see where you, somewhere in the middle, belt maybe more or less flat, so maybe slight tilt forward. Okay, and let's try the breathing again. Okay, once again, chest up, shoulders wide. Okay, so that's roughly the posture we're trying to maintain. Even if we're standing up, that's roughly the case. So when we're standing up, we're still trying to have taller chest, wider for the shoulders. Okay, and then a lot of people sometimes almost hang out this way a little bit, especially if you sit a lot in your low tights here, or if you're used to something like a walker. Your belt should be something like this. On the opposite side, there are people who, of course, do slouch quite a bit as well. Okay, but generally speaking, if people might just hang out almost like this way. Okay, so when we're standing up, we're going to try to just level our pelvis a little bit more. So just bring the top of our pelvis, level off our pelvis a little bit, maybe slight tilt forward, so that we have a normal curve in the back. So a normal curve is just a slight curve this would be too exaggerated, kind of somewhere closer to here. Okay, so something to keep in mind while we're practicing when sitting down or standing up afterwards. Okay, so let's get back to our good posture again. So a little bit taller. You can think of just lengthening the entire body. That's one of the easiest ways you remember is think of you literally try to pull your head up to the ceiling. Okay, and you would naturally be in a good position already. Okay, so let's work on, that's our posture. Let's work on which muscle we are trying to use when we try to breathe in. Okay, so just a kind of review from last time. So you can use the diaphragm, which is what we want to use most of the time. So let's check that out first. Okay, so kind of roughly the level of your belly button, maybe go up a little bit. Okay, let's try to take a breath in and see if you can push your fingers out a little bit as you take a breath inwards. Okay, so lungs expand like a balloon, things gets pushed out. Okay, so maybe I'll go a little bit closer for this. Okay, so let's just try 2 to 3 breaths. Okay, as you breathe in, it should sink back in a little bit as well. Okay, so don't have to try too hard, just make that naturally expand. Okay, once again, you can kind of maybe move a little bit in between. It could be just march in a spot if you want. Okay, if you do feel a little bit lightheaded. Okay, feel free to get up at any point if you need to as well. Okay, so second muscle we use to breathe is the muscles kind of in between your ribs. Okay, so when they contract, they expand our rib cage. Okay, so you can think of like an umbrella. So when those muscles contract, the umbrella opens up. Okay, that also draws air into our lungs as well. Okay, so let's check that out again. So find the base of your sternum or your chest bone. Okay, so there's a piece of bone in your chest. Maybe go down just a little bit. There's a little bit of an indent almost. Okay, go out a little bit. Okay, you should find your ribs, or just find any of your ribs already. Okay, and then let's try to take 2 to 3 breaths in again. See if you can push out your fingers a little bit. Okay, so it's a smaller movement this time for most people. Okay, for this one, when you breathe out, see if you can imagine lowering your ribs down, okay, without slouching though. So you're not so much doing this, but as you breathe out, as you breathe in, it expands and it comes up a little bit as well, like an umbrella. As you breathe out, see if you can almost bring the rib cage down a little bit without slouching down though. Okay, so let's try 2 to 3 breaths. So once again, in between, this is when people might start to get a little bit lightheaded, just because you're still using your diaphragm. It's not just this; it's the diaphragm plus this. So you can start to get a little bit lightheaded if you do it too much. Okay, so that's the second kind of muscle or mechanism. Okay, the third one is that you're using all the muscles in the more the external muscles. So that's the sort of in your shoulders. In the chest, so you're just pulling your almost your rib cage, your chest open up top. Okay, so that also sucks air into our lungs. Okay, so this is the one we don't want to use all the time. This is the one you see people, if they are really out of breath or they really tense up, they start to chest breathe or shoulder breathe. Okay, this is going to get your shoulders very tense. That's also get your nervous system very tense as well, because this is what we usually use when we are being chased by, let's say, a tiger. Okay, so Okay, so we are still going to be aware of it, but we are not going to practice this one too much. Okay, but okay, let's find roughly the top of your armpit. Okay, just go in a little bit, and usually like to have my arms crossed. So once again, see if you can breathe into your fingers. So you should probably see my chest rising a little bit. You see the middle of the X coming up a little bit as I breathe into my shoulders. Okay, this automatically happens if you're trying to take a really big breath in as well. Okay, so once again, shake it. Okay, so we're going to repeat one more time for all 3 levels. Okay, we're going to use the band just to be more aware of what we're doing again. So if you have a band or some sort of towel, you can grab that. Okay, it's just a tool for us to be more aware. Or you can just practice with the fingers as well if you so choose. Okay, but pause as long as you need to in between, move a little bit in between. Okay, and once again, let's check our posture. Okay, so once again, think of lengthening your, pulling your head up to the ceiling, and naturally you should be in a pretty good position. Okay, you can still double check again if you want to, but just think of just lengthening the entire body up to the ceiling, and you should be pretty good. Okay, so once again, level the belly button. We are just going to wrap the band around. This is just a reminder that our body doesn't work just in the front, it works all the way around. So we are just going to use it, so don't pull it too tight, okay, just enough so it gives you a little bit of a feedback. Okay, so try to take a breath in, and you try to pretty much push out the entire, the band all the way around. Okay, so not just the front, kind of all the way around. Okay, so just find a comfortable position. And let's do 2 to 3 breaths. Okay, and the first step is just being more aware. So I'm trying to feel what's happening as well. Yeah, no worries. Yeah. It gets a little tighter because you are pushing into it, right? So my belly, technically my side should go out a little bit as well. So it should get a little bit tighter, yeah, because you are pressing out all the way around. Okay, so just 2 to 3 breaths. Yeah, and then same idea, just on the level of the rib cage or the bottom of the sternum. Okay, so same idea once again. This it might feel more obvious at the ribs. Okay, once again, only maybe 2 to 3 breaths, and if you need to, move a little bit. Okay, and lastly, just the level of the chest as well. You can also just take a really big breath in, and you should feel your chest opening up as well. Okay, so just tuck it right into your armpit. Okay, and once again, it's technically also your upper rib cage as well. Okay, so those are the 3 levels that we are working with. Generally speaking, once again, we try to not use this much, this part so much. Okay, it's more so the bottom and the middle level. Okay, so we're going to practice these three. Let's practice in conjunction. So I'm going to do breathe in here, and then try to expand the ribs as well. Okay, and then as you take a really big breath in, this should naturally kind of comes up as well. Okay, so we're just practicing taking a really big breath in, and as you breathe out, try to empty your lungs as well. So take a longer breath out. See if you can lower your ribs, okay, without kind of slouching. Okay, so once again, ready? Taller first. Okay, you can feel free to use your hands or the band, whatever you like. Okay, so you can just kind of find your ribs with your thumb, and then your other fingers in the belly area. That can work as well. Okay, so let's try to do 1, 2, 3. Okay, so. Okay, maybe just 2 to 3 breaths. If you're okay, you can do more as well. Okay, generally speaking, we don't need to take that deep of a breath or that big of a breath. Okay, but we still want to use these two in our day-to-day kind of breathing. Sometimes, especially, you definitely don't want to be using the top so much. Okay, so just sometimes during the day, just check what you're doing. See if you're using the chest a little bit more. See if you can bring it back down to around here. Okay, so go on. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you still want to. Yeah, you still want to. So probably if you are out of breath, if you are just for whatever reason, you are going to start using the chest as well. Okay, but most of the time you should be using the bottom, these two, as well. Okay, so we just want to kind of limit this to when we are out of breath. Okay, most of the time we want to be using bottom and middle. No problem. Okay, so we are also going to play around with the timing as well. So for this one, if you feel like you are very out of breath, you check your oxygen level. If you have a lung condition. But for the idea of this is that we want to almost rebalance how fast we're breathing in. So most of the time, people breathe a little bit quicker than they need to. So if you are short of breath, you are going to breathe faster. But I mean when we're just kind of resting and we don't need to. So just as a background information, most of the time when we kind of want to breathe in and out, at least for people with a lung condition, is that it's actually the carbon dioxide building up in our body that makes us want to breathe faster. Okay, so which is why people can hold their breath for like 4 minutes to upwards of I think world record is 15 minutes or something like that. So there is, when we take a breath in and we take a breath out, we don't use all the oxygen in the breath. We don't use all the oxygen in our body. It's really the carbon dioxide that's going up in our body because that's how we function. We breathe in oxygen and we create carbon dioxide, which is kind of toxic to not toxic to the body, but it's a waste product to the body, and the body is trying to get rid of it. So your body can get used to a certain level of carbon dioxide in the body, and so for most people, it's very low. So once they have a little bit of carbon dioxide in the body, they try to get rid of it, which leads to just breathing more quickly in general. Okay, so what kind of research kind of shows about pain reduction or kind of relaxation is that we need to lower train ourselves to lower our breathing rates a little bit. The short version of it is that when we're breathing faster, like the exaggeration is when we are doing this continuously, you are going to get very stressed out because but when we're slowing down, let's say when we're sleeping, our breathing rate actually drops down a little bit as well. So for most of the day, we actually want to, in terms of promoting kind of relaxation, promoting recovery of the body, we want to train ourselves to slow it down a little bit. Okay? So how slow it is depends on the person. If you have a lung condition, that may be different. Okay? But we want to play around with the timing a little bit now. Okay? So that was just a little background information. So I'm going to show a timer on the screen. Let me see if I can make this, maybe I'll show it, make it a little bit smaller. Maybe I'll put it around here. Okay, so what we're going to do is that we are going to play around the timing. So what we're going to do is that we are going to try to breathe in for 2 seconds, hold it for about 2 seconds, breathe out for 4 seconds, okay, and then hold for 2. Okay, so it's 2, 2, 4, 2. Okay, so if you can't completely do the whole 4 seconds or the pause, you can shorten it a little bit, okay, but that's our kind of a target. So once again, 2 seconds breathing in, hold it for 2 seconds, breathe out for 4 seconds or a little bit longer exhale, okay, and then 2 seconds holding. Just kind of after you empty your lungs, hold it for a little bit for 2. Okay, so once again, if you don't feel comfortable at any point, feel free to just stop it and do your normal breathing. Okay, but let's give it a try. Okay, so I'm going to start the. Okay, okay, so we can start any points. You can just go at your own pace. So maybe let's say we start at 10. Okay, so bring ourselves first. Okay, so. Oops, I think the stopwatch somehow stopped completely. Okay, I think it's working. Okay, so I don't know what happened. But anyway, so that's kind of roughly, so what we just did is that we did a 10 seconds breath cycle. So it takes us 10 seconds to breathe in and back out. So every minute you'll be breathing in about 6 times then, because it's 60 seconds in a minute. Okay, so I think the research shows about 6 to 10 breaths per minute is a good kind of a better way. So sometimes we you can actually count yourself if you're interested what your breath number of breaths you're taking in a minute currently is. If you can check with a stopwatch. Okay, but let's practice this kind of one more time. Okay, so I'm gonna restart the clock. Okay, so once again we're gonna go 2 seconds in, hold for 2 seconds, okay, breathe out for 4, okay, and pause for 2. Okay, so it's actually not even that, doesn't feel all that, I don't think it feels all that long, even when we are pausing a little bit. Okay, so let's give it one more try. Okay, so maybe once again, maybe we'll start at, let's say 10 seconds, okay, and okay, we'll get ready first. Okay, and okay, and that's good. So briefly, just 3 breaths or so. Okay, so it's a little bit of definitely you can play around the timing. it also helps you used to, if you have a lung condition, it helps you to get used to the higher carbon dioxide level in your body, okay? Because when you are walking, it's probably going to shoot up a little bit as well because, or at least, yeah, so because part of it is your body can get used to it. So with your lung condition, when you're walking, you are going to feel that air hunger. So this is just a way for you to practice it while sitting there, sort of. But this is not what you want to breathe like. Okay, so I don't want everyone to start pausing in between every day. Yeah, it's just a training drill. So it's just a way to practice. Okay, so now let's try to bring that into a standing position. Okay, so if you need to grab your support, walker, or anything like that, it's just anything you need. Okay, so it doesn't have to be 2 chairs. It's not going to be very challenging to balance, but okay, but just anything you need first. Okay, so these breathing classes is also a little bit repetitive in a sense, okay, but we're just practicing in different positions. Okay, so let's just start off with just, and if you feel out of breath at any point, if you need to sit down, just feel free to stop. Okay, but we're going to just practice this, what we just practiced, kind of in a standing position. Okay, so we are just going to be, once again, getting a good posture first. So make yourself taller. Okay, level off your belt a little bit. So once again, don't hang out your butt like this. So okay, but still try to get tall. If you're tight here, you might fight it a little bit. Okay, but once again, let's try the ladder breathing, I guess you can call it. So here, and then if you take a very breath in, the top goes up. Okay, so you can use your hands, either 1 or 2. Okay, so depend on you. Okay, so let's try. Once again, in between, you can do whatever you need to do to feel good. Okay, so that's the basics of it. Let's also get into the very simplified Tai Chi again. So we're going to start off with just moving our arms first. Okay, so the second motion, we're going to add our hands to it as well today. You can add it if you want to. You don't necessarily have to, especially if you need to hold something with balance. Just if we do one hand at a time, that's okay as well. So even for the first one, you can just do one arm. Okay, so still roughly armpit width apart. Okay, so still make yourself taller first. Level off your belt, your pelvis. Okay, so as you breathe in, you're just going to bring your wrist to about shoulder height level. Bring your elbows in. Okay, hands are still relaxed. Okay, as you breathe out, you're going to try to press everything down, expand the fingers, open the fingers. Okay, so we're not worried about the legs for now. Okay, so once again, breath in, relax. Okay, still pay attention to what you're doing. So the arms is just to get you to be able to do it while you're doing something else. Okay, so don't worry about too much. It's not going to be proper Tai Chi either, but we're going to just use this as a way to learn to do other stuff and still be able to do practice breathing in as well. Okay, so once again, posture. Okay, so 2 to 3 times. Okay, once again, sit down if you do need a break in between. Okay, so second kind of motion, we're going to use mostly the legs first. Okay, so it's the same one we did last time. There's also a lot of weight shifting involved here, so it's a little bit of a balance kind of practice as well. So let's learn the motion first. So feel free to sit down while, if you do need a break, while I just kind of explain. So still roughly armpit width apart first. Okay, first step is you're going to shift your weight over the one leg, okay, and then turn the other foot about 45 degrees out. Okay, you're going to shift your weight over to the leg that shift. Okay, the rule is that whatever leg you have the weight on, your pelvis is kind of facing the same direction. So my weight is on this leg, my knee is going that way. Okay, so I want my hips to be turned towards that way. You probably feel a little bit of stretch on this side. Okay, and then afterwards, you really have to shift your weight over to this leg so that you can take about a foot length in front. And then you're going to shift your weight over to the front foot. Okay, so once again, the rule is that the leg you have the weight on, you're going to turn your pelvis towards that leg. Okay, still be careful that you're not dropping your pelvis down. Make sure you're leveling your pelvis, staying tall. Okay, and once again, for most people, you might feel more of a stretch here if you turn and bring your pelvis up a little bit. Okay, and afterwards, we're just going to go back to the standing position. Okay, so, and also see if you can put more weight on. Okay, so the knee is tracking over the foot. Okay, so I probably need to go back slightly. Okay, but my knee is not caving in this way. My knee is over the foot. Okay, and see if you can put more weight on here. So how do I know my weight is really on this leg? Okay, you should be almost able to lift the other leg up without shifting. So if my weight is centered on both legs, if I want to lift this leg up, I need to shift forward a little bit more before I can lift this. Okay, so see if you can shift more with your weight here so that's easier for you to lift the back leg. Okay, and then to go back, you just same motion backwards, whatever leg you have. Okay, so weight on, your hips turn that way. You should be able to tap the floor on this side. Okay, and you're just going to go back and go back. Okay, so let's give it a try. Okay, so once again, if you don't over focus on the leg so much, see if you can still maintain that the breathing first. That's a priority. Okay, so let's give it a go. So good position first. Pelvis, level out your pelvis. Take a breath in or out first. Okay, and shift your weight over to one side. Turn the foot out 45 degrees. Okay, shift your weight over that leg. Okay, turn your pelvis so that's in the same direction as that knee or that foot. Okay, foot length in front. Shift your weight over to that front leg. Okay, see if you can still upright. Okay, and shift enough weight on so that you can almost kind of tap the foot or tap the heel. Can be a little bit challenging. Okay, and then you go back. Once again, turn your hips so that it's in the same direction as the foot. Okay, and once again, check if you can tap the floor almost. Okay, bring the foot back. Shift your waist back over. Okay, and then turn your foot back in. Okay, let's try the same thing on the other side, but you can pause. You can also take a break in between as well. Okay, but let's do the other side. Once again, waist shift, foot turned. Okay, shift your weight over to that leg, turn your hips towards that leg. A foot length in front. Shift your weight, turn your pelvis, still level off the pelvis. Okay, see if you can tap the foot. And once again, shifting back. See if you can tap that foot. Okay, but if you can lift it, naturally you should be able to, that's how you know your weight's on that leg. Okay, and like that. Okay, so once again, if you are getting a little out of breath, do check your oxygen level. Also pause, just sit down and rest at any point. Okay, so today we're just gonna add one more to it, so we're gonna add the hands to the same movements again. Okay, so the legs, exactly the same thing. Okay, but this time, what you're gonna do is that you're gonna add the hands to it as well. Okay, so you're gonna, side motion is still the same, you're still gonna turn your toes out, okay, but now whatever leg you have with the weight on, that arm is gonna be up, okay, so you're gonna be almost like holding a ball on the side here, okay, so my weight's on my right leg, so my right arm is on top, and the other hand is at the bottom. Okay, you're still going to do the exact same motion, stepping forward. Okay, and as you shift your weight to the front, my left leg is now going to be with the weight on, so I'm going to bring my left arm up, and the other hand is just going to be almost pressing downwards. Okay, and to go back is the exact same thing. I'm shifting my weight over to my right side, so my right arm is going to be on top. Okay, and you're just going to back down here. Okay, so just one more step to it. You can just do one arm if you do need to hold on to something for support. Okay, so it's just very simplified Tai Chi. Okay, so if you feel okay, let's kind of we try this again just with the arms. Okay, so we'll do it together. Okay, so still tall, level off your pelvis. So usually belts buckle a little bit higher up. Okay, let's take a breath in first. Okay, a full breath in. Remember to step, the ladder breathing. Okay, actually, sorry, 1 second. I forgot to let other people in. Wow. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so let's try again. Okay, so armpit width apart. Okay, so once again, taller through the spine. Okay, ladder breathing. Okay, now shift your weight. Turn the foot over. Okay, shift your weight over to that side. So whatever leg you have the weight on, arm is going to be on top. The other hand is going to be at the bottom. Okay, and foot length in front. Start to shift your weight over to the outer leg. Okay, whatever leg is has a weight on it, you are going to have the hands in front. The other hand is going to press down. Okay, and we're just going to go backwards. Okay, my weight is my right leg, so my right arm is up. Okay, be able to okay. Let's, if you're okay, let me repeat on the other side. Okay, so if you need a break, feel free to pause. Okay, so it's the same idea as before. So still tall posture first. One full breath in and out. Okay, foot out, and foot turn. Okay, whatever leg has a weight on, the arm is going to be on top. So this is my left arm and left leg with the weight on. Okay, shift enough weight on that leg so that you can take a foot length in front. Shift your weight over to the front leg. My right arm is forward, upward now because my weight is in my right leg. Okay, remember to still turn your pelvis towards it. Keep that belt buckle up. Okay, see if you can shift enough weight on so that the back leg can actually move a little bit. Okay, and when you go backwards, okay, so left leg has my waist, my left arm is up. Okay, control motion back in. Yeah, so it probably standing for a while, so if you have a lung condition, that's going to make it hard. Yeah, so it's also a little bit of balance as well. So the good thing about Tai Chi and how it works with balance is that there is a lot of weight shifting involved in the Tai Chi. So even a basic step here. So the idea is that you don't want to be kind of shuffling back and forth so much, but you have to do it slow enough and control enough, which means your weight really have to be on one leg before you can really do this in a very controlled fashion. If your weight is not fully shifted over, it's going to look something more like a step or something like that. So it's about weight shifting in terms of how Tai Chi helps with fall prevention and things like that. Okay, no problem. I'm glad to hear that. Okay, so I've still have a little bit of time. Okay, so last one. You can do it sitting down, you can do it standing up, but we're going to try to do it in motion as well. So we are just going to do a very basic march. Don't go too fast. You don't have to go fast at all, and you're sitting down as well. Okay, but the idea is still see if you can, while you're in motion, see if you can still keep those things in mind. Okay, so don't worry about the speed of the marching, just focus on the breathing part. Don't go too fast. Okay, so mostly think of the lateral breathing as you are marching. Okay, so actually I should put the time up. Let's go for about maybe a minute or so. So let me turn this back on. Okay, so let's try for about a minute. Okay, feel free to stop at any point. Okay, but let's try to be in motion and breathe at the same time. Okay, so if you're sitting down, you can just move the arms. If you can also tap your foot in front as well. It will be easier than marching if you're sitting down. Okay, so if you're sitting down, just kind of do this type of motion. Okay, if you're standing, just do whatever you want. Okay, so your breathing rate is going to be speeding up a little bit. Okay, so even with the marching, if I'm breathing kind of deep enough now, I also get a little lightheaded. Okay, but that's how we can, in a way, increase how much oxygen is getting in the body and how much is getting how much carbon dioxide we can get rid of. Okay, so yeah, so roughly this is the main portion of the class. So if you have a harmonica, if you want to join us, we're going to do a little bit of harmonica practice. Okay, if you want to join us, you can just do it's just going to be breathing in and out really, but the harmonica provides a little bit of resistance. Okay, so I will send out more information about the harmonica later on through the email if you're interested in joining us for that part, but otherwise feel free to, you don't necessarily have to stay. Okay, so if you have a harmonica, you can get it out. Okay, so this is like the Tai Chi part. It's not going to be an actual proper music class. I just learned to play it like a month ago, so so this is just going to be, once again, the harmonica is just a way for us to provide a little bit of resistance for breathing out and breathing in, which can be helpful for people with a lung condition to kind of train their diaphragm, because it's hard to, and it's more fun than just sitting here going, it's a little more fun than just doing that. So it's just a funner way you can use to practice breathing in and out if at home. Okay, so so let's just, I don't think I properly kind of, so if you have a opponent, can you take it out? Let me know if there's sound coming from it because my speakers, oh sorry, my microphone sometimes filters out noise, so you might not hear anything. It might also be too loud, so just let me know. So how you hold it is that the decided numbers is on top, okay? And you hold it with mostly the left hand. So you're literally just clamping like so, okay, and then with the numbers on top, okay? So maybe don't cover up too much of the front, go a little bit further back because your lips are gonna go this way. Also, ideally, you have brush your teeth or mouth before you breathe in because things do, of course, the saliva goes into this, okay? So ideally have brush your teeth first. Okay, and the other hand, if you want to, you can pretty much just hold it like this. Other hand, if you want to, you can also just do here, like this. Okay, so it covers up. You can do fancy stuff with it, don't ask me how. I'll try to learn it, but for now, just hold it mostly like this. If you want, you can support it with your other hand. Okay, so pretty much harmonica can make a sound whether you breathe into it or breathe out of it. Okay, so for now, don't worry about, so ideally, if you want to make a note, you want to breathe in through a single, only through one of these holes. Okay, so that's how you make a single note. Okay, I don't know, I probably don't think, yeah. Okay, so when you get started, you're going to be breathing into multiple holes at the same time. Okay, so usually middle C is the number 4. Okay, so let's just put your mouth somewhere around the 4 number. So when you breathe into it, it's going to make what we call a chord, which is just multiple notes at the same time. There you go. Yeah, that's good. So and you can also try breathing into it. So sucking air in, and you'll make a different sound. So it'll sound something like this. Are you able to? Yeah. So try to breathe in now. There you go. Yeah. So the breathing in is probably going to be harder than breathing out of it. Okay. There you go. Yeah. So now we're going to try to make it more of a single note. So this is going to feel, if you've been to the lung rehab class, it's going to be very similar to the pursed lip breathing that we do. So that's the one where you make almost like a U in your mouth, or saying the word U. So your lips are more narrow. So you still want air to go out. Okay, so hopefully I can do this. So, but I'm going to try and breathe in through just a 4 hole now. So you see how that's a single note compared to that's a whole chord. This is a single note. So this is just a way for you to practice the pursed lip breathing, which is the, okay, so you can give it a try. So that's a single note, more, yeah. So you can give it a try. That's more of a whole chord now. Yeah, so yeah, if your mouth relaxed, that's a couple of notes at the same time, probably 3. And then if you make a U shape, that will be a single note, okay? So let's try, breathing in will be harder as well. So let's try breathing the U shape. So breathe out, make it a little bit longer, okay? And breathe in, make it a little bit longer as well. Okay, so let's give it a try. Okay, so if you're not used to it, also makes you lightheaded. It's kind of very similar to what we did previously. Hopefully, but later on, hopefully, I'm learning with everyone as well. Maybe we'll learn the whole song together. It's just a more interesting way to practice breathing in and out. Okay, so today what we're going to do is that don't worry too much on the mouth. Okay, we're just going to learn a little bit of kind of rhythm as well. So when you breathe, we're going to do 4 bursts. Okay, so when you go, so just do the whole chord. So go blow out for 1, pause 2, 3, 4. Okay, so just a little pause in between. So blow, pause. We can take a mini breath in and then blow out. Okay, so we just do about, don't worry too much, just do 4 bursts, make it a little bit longer, breathe a little bit in between. Okay, so let's give it a go. Okay, so it'll be sound more like. Okay, so just breathing out first. Okay, so just breathing out, so it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, yeah, okay, 2, yeah, okay, and keep going for 2 more times. Yeah, okay, there you go. Okay, yeah, pause in between, rest. Okay, so that will be just a breathing out pause. Okay, so we're going to do the opposite. We're just going to breathe in kind of 4 times. Okay, so once again, pause in between each note as long as you need to, but do it breathing in, make the sound as you breathe in for 4 times. Okay, so we just find any sound in harmonica is fine. Okay, so okay, so just make 4 sound. So breathe in, breathe in, breathe in. So suck the, yeah, so suck the air in. Okay, yeah, make it a little longer if you can. Okay. Yeah, one more step, yeah, yeah. Yeah, so pause as long as you need to in between. Okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, one more time. Yeah, so let's make it 4 times. There you go. Okay, yeah, breathe, just relax. Yeah, anyway you, relax any way you like. Okay, so last one for today, we're just gonna combine the two. So we're gonna breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in. Okay, so it's still a 4 count. Okay, if you can, try to make this a little long. So breathe out for longer, breathe in for longer, breathe out for longer, breathe in for longer for kind of 4 notes, 4 sets. Okay, so we can you can try. So we just. Okay, so just 4 sounds. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, so just do 4, but we're going to try to make it longer. Okay, we're going to practice this one last time, but we're going to make it a little longer. Probably you want to move closer to the 5. Okay, so that's the C, E, G chord. That's a basic C chord. Don't worry about the term so much. But so it'll be do, fa, do, mi, fa, so, so do, sa, fa, so. Yeah, it's been a while, so. Yeah, it's been a while, but it's the 1, 3, 5 as if yeah, that's a basic chord. So yeah, yeah. So it's do, re, mi, fa, so. So it's do, fa, so. That's a basic C chord. Okay, yeah. Okay, breathe in. Okay, breathe out. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So try to not breathe out so hard. Okay, so the harmonica, you don't need to push air in very hard. Just let it in, let it out. Okay, but hold it for longer. Yeah. So it's kind of like how we practice breathing. And so the person breathing is not. It's not. We're not doing this so much. We're trying to just. Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, so that's kind of the first step. Yeah, so once again, the harmonica just gives a little bit of resistance. If you go to the end and the most of the lower notes, so the left side, you'll find the resistance actually increases. So you can give it a go if you want. Yeah, so don't blow too on a high note so much. Yeah, but go towards the other side. So go towards the other side. Yeah. Yeah, so you notice the resistance increases with the lower notes because the probability to read the vibrating component in the harmonica is a little thicker. That's how it kind of vibrates lower, so that's how the notes is deeper. Yeah, but it's just think of this as a breathing practice. So if you at home, if you want to, you can, instead of just practicing that sort of breathing, you can play around with this. So just a way to practice. Yeah. Yeah, so that's why they do it in. I think the U.S. primarily started this. They call it harmonica for health, for lung, for breathing. What did they call it? So I'm calling kind of this. So it's backwards because it's the camera, but harmonica for health. That's what they call it. Okay, so in terms of what we need to do after you play it, the most basic thing you want to do, is to get a tissue or any sort of cloth. Okay, and you just want to shake the harmonica out. Okay, so because saliva does get into it, so the very basic thing is that you need to shake it out a little bit. I usually just kind of wipe it there, at least a little bit. Yeah. After a while, you might want to rinse it with a little bit of mild soapy water. Most of these cheap ones are kind of metal inside, so I mean, if you're really professional about it, they would take it apart and do other stuff with it for a purpose for these cheaper. So these harmonicas cost like $10 to $15 around. So in that case, just rinse it out with a soapy water, air dry it afterwards. Every time before you play, maybe brush your teeth, things like that. Shake it out afterwards. That's probably good enough for these cheaper ones. Yeah, no problem. Okay, so yeah, that's it for today's class. Hopefully that's kind of a little bit, at least a little bit interesting to learn a little bit more how we can do the breathing stuff. Later on with the harmonica, we might do a whole song. The other stuff we might just expand on the Tai Chi a little bit more. The basics of it is pretty much the same. We might do different breathing patterns to it. Sometimes we a little bit of stretches for the trunk and the breathing, but primarily this is what the class is going to be about. No problem. Yeah, and I'll send our information for the harmonica if you're interested in joining us for this last 10 minutes of the class. You can. So yeah, so just for people without harmonica, I'm just using a very basic, very cheaper one, and that's enough for our purpose. Okay, so no problem. Yeah, so thank you for coming, everyone. And if this is interesting to you, then hopefully maybe see you next week then. Okay, take care. No problem. Bye bye.